Hi folks, in this video I try out a really handy lightweight method of strengthening foam construction that you might be interested in. I've been adding laminations to the wings, but this just transfers the stress and adds to the weight, which in turn increases the force during a crash. So I've been turning my planes into flying tanks. Even though they're stronger, they're heavier, so still cracking up on impact. Also, my polystyrene fuselages have been taking a hit and cracking up at the stress points. A wise man once told me the 3 rules of indoor aviation were: keep it light, keep the weight down, and not too heavy. Ha! You know who you are, Andrew. The aeronautical engineer in my family shared a method of adding strength to foam wings cut from expanded polystyrene, which involved using tissue and watered down PVA paste. In this video, I experiment with this method to strengthen the fuselages of my planes and also the printing foam wings. Let's see how that goes. After multiple crashes and a bingle with a kamikaze pilot, actually my fault entirely, in my last indoor flying session.
Oh, sorry.
My Magnum wing was a massive crumpled foam and sellotape. Time for a rebuild, I think. I cut the wing using a full length of printing foam. I started the curving process using steam from the kettle, and then I cut out some foam shapers which held the aerofoil in place and left it out in the summer sun for a day. This started the curving process without breaking the skin. I cut out and laminated the undercarriage supports and wingtip ribs, and I cut out the tissue to cover both the top and bottom of the wings in one piece. I diluted some PVA glue to get a thin paste consistency and painted the wing, attaching the tissue to it. This was a bit tricky as this packing tissue tore easily when wet. Before the glue dried, I attached the middle section, undercarriage support, recycled wingtips and the wingtip ribs with PVA so that all the glue would dry with the desired aerofoil shape. I wanted to have a nice springy undercarriage this time, so I bent some piano wire to a shape that would move freely up and down. This time I attached the springy wire directly to the fuselage. The spats would then provide a bottom mount support only. And this is the result. It weighed 66 grams without battery and 72 grams with the battery and the larger motor. I'm on the train to Waverley. I wonder how my little Magnum will fly this time. Okay, we've got the completely rebuilt wing and new undercarriage. I'm going to try taxiing. After the taxiing testing, I decided to try a takeoff, but it was unstable. So I added some weight to the nose and it flew a lot better, but I did notice that when I throttled up it climbed vertically, and when I cut the throttle it crashed to the ground. So I'll need to angle the motor down a little bit more.
Motor on it as well, a more powerful one, which is good for getting out of trouble. It's better.
The new undercarriage is absorbing my hard landings well. After sorting out the centre of gravity, I had a good long flight from the Magnum. I got to do some formation flying with Ron's Waco. Come on, don't be shy. Whoa! I guess this obstacle in the middle does have its uses. Well, she's coming in hot. All these hard landings looks like they've taken the toll on the fuselage. You can see it's cracked where I stopped adding the tissue to the fuselage during a previous repair job. Time for a fuselage rebuild, I think. Using the templates from my previous build, I cut out a new foam fuselage from expanded polystyrene using my wire foam cutter. The wing and undercarriage was undamaged from my previous build. I attached plywood for the wing support sections and hollowed out the fuselage for the radio gear and servos. I covered the whole fuselage with tissue and PVA and recycled the tailplane and rudder. I gave it its first coat of paint. I hollowed out the front of the fuselage where the motor would go and started fitting radio gear. Now that the fuselage is covered with tissue and PVA, it feels a lot less bendy and much more rigid, but still light. I hot glued in the motor and the servos. All that's left is to attach the connecting rods and visit the paint shop. Time for a second coat of paint and then we'll be ready to go. The final weight came to 66 grams without the battery and 72 grams with. We were allocated a different space at Mellon this week as there was sports swimming going on our usual spot.
It's quite a big area, but it's got a feature up there. These nets, so we can't fly too high.
Yes, there were nets at the far wall and nets up above, so we had to be careful not to fly into those. After adding some weight to the nose to fix the centre of gravity, it took off okay. I also had to add a lot of bright trim, and I attributed this to the positioning of the motor, which needs to be pointed more to the right to compensate for the torque of the propeller. The Magnum flew well once trimmed, that is, until the motor came loose. I need to use more hot glue to keep it in place. When I recently rebuilt the wing of my Bronco, the wing was 5 grams and then 7 grams after covering it with tissue and PVA. This added quite a lot of strength, whereas laminating it would have more than doubled the weight. So, overall, using tissue and watered down PVA to add strength without adding too much weight seems to have been a success. I will continue to use this method for future projects. What's coming up next? I have an exciting new project. I'm planning to build an indoor A10 Warthog with twin EDF motors. Through the club, I've acquired a 1 meter Warthog kit, which I will use to base my indoor construction on. I've downloaded the plans to build it from foam, and I've also ordered a receiver which comes with twin EDF motors which will bind to my FlySky transmitter. I'll be starting construction on this shortly. I have another exciting project coming up. That is a 5-channel 2 meter electric glider at the other end of the size spectrum. I recently acquired this from one of my friends in the club. It just requires batteries and a receiver, which I've now ordered, so I'll be getting into this in the next couple of months. It is quite a lot larger than my existing 1 meter 4-channel EPP Spirit, so it should be exciting to fly outdoors. So thanks for watching, and subscribe to Dave's Fun RC if you'd like to follow me on my next projects. Bye for now.